spokesperson, Michael Muchiri, says that a constable had been taken into custody. He did not give further information, referring queries to the Independent Policing Oversight Authority, which is leading the investigation. There was no immediate comment from the Independent Police Oversight Authority. The deceased Ojwang was declared dead on Sunday, 2 days after his arrest in the town of Homer Bay in Western Kenya for allegedly criticizing the country's Deputy Police Chief, Eliud Lagat. Your weather tonight, it's 22 degrees. A quick reminder of our top story: residents of Lower Ilovo and surrounding areas have gathered at the Omazim Toti Civic Center, where Itegwini Deputy Mayor Zandile Myeni addresses them about the construction of a new homeless shelter so as to deal with homelessness in Durban. That's the
أصير أحسن أصير أحسن أصير أحسن أصير أحسن أصير أحسن أصير أحسن أصير أحسن
أصير أحسن ولا يمنعني شيء مدام راسي حي بسوي اللي عليه يصير أحسن بما أني نويت وعزمت وخطيت فكمل ما بديت.
أصير أحسن ولا يمنعني شيء مدام راسي حي بسوي اللي عليه. أصير أحسن بما أني نويت وعزمت وخطيت بكمل ما بديت. ماني خايف ولاني واقف أنا ماشي وقلبي شايف التحدي دواء عندي حتى لو بصعب وقسام واقف. أصير أحسن أصير أحسن أصير أحسن
يصير أحسن ولو قالوا جنون كلامي
Join me, Faizal, Suleman and Buddy Govender on Let's Chat this Friday evening at 9 p.m. and every Friday thereafter when we venture on a trip down memory lane.
Remember, the vibrant district of the Grey Street Casbah has been the soul of Durban's Indian community, a place where stories are woven into the fabric of its bustling markets, historic buildings, the people, and that has shaped our legacy. From the towering Juma Masjid Mosque to the majestic Emmanuel Cathedral to the iconic tea rooms and shops that have stood the test of time. The Casbah, more than just a place, it's an experience. It's a life that seems to have faded away into memory. This will evolve into a regular Friday evening series on the show, and you can share your memories and experience and family stories with us by calling in or sending us a WhatsApp, which we will read out on the show.
Tune in to Let's Chat on Radio Lansar and enjoy the stroll down memory lane together. Let's Chat this and every Friday at 9 p.m.
الشكر والحمد لله.
أحب الوفاء بشتى الصور أحب الوفي الأمين أغر فأهل
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم سيدنا محمد وآله وأصحابه أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. All praise is due to Allah, the Lord, cherisher, nourisher, sustainer and master of the universe, the most gracious, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Ya Allah, it is only you that we worship and it is your guidance that we seek. Ya Allah, keep us on the straight path. Ya Allah, show us the choice of blessings. Ya Allah, show us your mercy. Ya Allah, guide us. Greetings, salam, salutations on our beloved Nabi Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 8 minutes past 9 on this beautiful Friday evening, the 13th of June 2025, the 17th of Zilhijjah 1446. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome to Let's Chat on Radio Lansar with myself, Faizal MJ Suleman, and my dear friend Buddy Govender.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Faizal. Lovely to be back on a Friday evening. Looking forward to it as usual.
Absolutely. In fact, yes, this is a show that I also look forward to.
Yeah.
There's so much of nostalgia that we bring, and our listeners to, the participation and the interaction really, it gives us that oomph that we're looking for.
It jogs our memory, it takes us back and just makes us remember all the people that we knew and the times and the places, smells and the sounds. All comes back.
Yeah.
Faisal, we've been talking about restaurants, we've been talking about a whole lot of things, shops. We're going to come back to some of those things. But the most strangest thing about the Casbah is that, in the area that we lived in, there was not a single playground. There was not a single park. There was not a single football field or sports field, none at all. And you would expect us all to have just become gangsters.
I like that one. I like that.
Because we had that environment.
Yes.
But yet we had sportsmen of top quality.
Yes.
Tennis players, table tennis, snooker,
Across
billiards,
the board.
football, across the board. It's amazing that we did that.
In fact, we even had scouts.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Surat Hindu and Anjuman School, they had scouts. Emmanuel Cathedral as well had scouts. And that was so good.
Now, I remember in Prince Edward Street, there was a little parking lot.
Yes.
Right, there was a parking lot.
Yes.
And, of course, the sand there was black.
That's right.
And that was the only inverted commas ground that we were allowed to use. And I got inverted commas.
Yeah.
And who got there first used it. But remember, you're going to go as if you've been to a coal mine.
Yes.
When you finish.
And
because
your
everything's black.
Pants is going to be torn. You're going to get scrapes. But there was one in Victoria Street, if you remember.
Yes,
it.
I
It's
do.
not
And
there
I know,
anymore.
I know which one you're referring to.
Cinema stands right on it now, across the road from the library. Ishmael Cinema. That was a car park, and it had the same black gravel on it. And then Queen Street.
No, Victoria Street, also slightly down, next to Goodwill Lounge.
Yes, that's
there was
right.
a massive parking lot.
It still is. I think that still is a parking.
Is it? I can't even recall.
I think it is.
Okay.
Between the Goodwill Lounge and that block of flats.
Yes.
Then Queen Street, where Regal came after us, that was our Wembley Stadium. That was
that's
really
when you have
incredible.
the cup finals.
Look at that, Faisal. Gullies, lanes, streets, passages.
Yes.
Those were our Wembley stadiums, weren't they?
They were.
And we learned to play all sorts of sports in that particular space, which is unreal.
And as you said, lots of professional sportsmen grew from there.
Absolutely. We're talking about sport, and a lot of people, when they talk about or think about sport, they think firstly about football or cricket or rugby. But you remember the gyms, the bodybuilding gyms in the Casbah? There was one called Bobat's Gym.
Yes.
That was like a pioneering gym. I know there was one prior to that, but Bobat has been, as a little boy, I remember Bobat used to be
in the Fish Market Street.
Exactly.
Upstairs,
right there by that road that connects Victoria Street to Queen Street.
And that wasn't there before. There was just a lane that you walk past.
That's right. Exactly. Before that road came there. But Bobat's Gym used to be there. And a lot of people went into that gym because there was no gyms as like they have today, no Virgin Actives and stuff like that. They went into that gym and took up bodybuilding and those sort of things. That itself
I don't
was a
think
sport.
we had treadmills and things like that.
No, there was just the weights.
The
as
weights,
far as I'm
just the weights,
concerned, there was just the weights. There was no running things or none of that.
In fact, if you wanted to play, some serious football off the road, either made your way to Albert Park or you made your way to the circus site.
Yes, if you wanted grass.
If you wanted grass, yeah.
Albert Park was our venue. The Queen Street boys would all come. And I think you must have come down with us
from
as well.
Prince Edward Street, yes.
We used to walk all the way down Grey Street, go into Russell Street, and then walk all the way. Now, I must tell you about that walk because we would walk past similar blocks of flats in the Russell Street area, which was white.
Yes.
And you would have a similar situation to us where the boys would stand downstairs and they would look at us as we walk past.
Yes.
And the most amazing thing is one of my colleagues at work, Richard Holgate, was one of those boys. And when we spoke about our lives, Faisal, we were maybe like 1 kilometer apart.
Yes.
And totally different lives.
Yes.
We lived the same life. Exactly the same things we did. Go to the bay, do this, play football on the street. They did exactly the same thing. When we spoke about it, it was like, apartheid was crazy, man.
Yes. We had one long street, and then, once the inverted commas Indian side stops, and the white stuff, then the name changed from Grey Street to Broad Street. Yeah.
It's amazing you say that because I wrote an article on the history of that name change. And maybe one of the days I'll bring it down, inshallah, and we'll talk about it because I've got the minutes of that meeting when they actually changed that name.
Okay.
Purely because no one down that side wanted to be associated with Grey Street. And yet who was Grey Street named after? a British colonel.
Yes.
So it had nothing
yes.
to do with Indian or
Yes.
anything like that.
But then it was a gray area. So
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But the number, maybe somebody wants to tell us about their experiences in the Grey Street area. We're going to give you the phone number and the WhatsApp number. You can WhatsApp us and tell us what you think about the subject matter today, because we're talking about things like football, table tennis. Now, Faizal, I know
Snooker,
you
yeah.
got a background in table tennis.
Yes.
Anjuman School played a pivotal role in that table tennis
Anjuman
as well.
School,
And
Crescent
also
School.
the upstairs from Captains.
Yes, we had a board over there as well.
Yeah, what was that place called?
Churro. It was called. I think Churro.
No,
No. The Musafir Khana.
That's right.
That was
Mustafa
converted to a
Khana,
club.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was a Muslim youth movement at one time. Well, the youngsters would go there on a Friday night and a Saturday night.
In
And
fact,
we used to play table
they
tennis.
had table tennis there, and there's snooker next door.
Absolutely.
I mean, not next door, as part of the thing.
Yes.
And then also, we then used to play badminton
That's right.
and table tennis at the parish center,
Yes.
right on the top.
The Cathedral Parish
Cathedral,
Centre.
yeah, it was
Where
called.
my karate dojo was for 30
Is
years.
it?
Yes.
Okay.
The
called it.
markings were still on the floor.
Okay, we called it what we call the Apollo Youth Club.
Ah, fantastic. At the cathedral, eh?
And then we had current judges, etc. I mean,
Yes.
we have the people who are part of our club, judges today, the
Yeah.
doctors today, highly skilled
Yeah.
professionals. It's amazing.
Yeah. You know what I'm just thinking about, Faizal? You said that you played at the cathedral Parish
Every Sunday
Centre.
night, for almost 5 to 6 or 8 years.
That won't happen today.
No.
With all due respect,
Mhm.
if you like Muslim or if you
Yeah.
Christian and you want to go, there probably would be some issues there.
No, this
Those
was purely
days
on a
was-
social basis and nothing to
Absolutely.
do with religion.
Absolutely.
We just used the facilities that are
absolutely.
provided for us. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
But table tennis, you were involved in the table
Yes.
tennis?
Yes.
Did you
Quite
play for a
extensively.
club or?
We had our club, Clayton Table Tennis Club, but we played more under the auspices of Southern Natal Table
Okay.
Tennis Union,
Yes.
and we played at the corner of Queen Street and Grey Street and Victoria Street
Okay.
upstairs, which you referred to.
Yes.
We used to play at the Crescent School. We used to play at the Anjuman School.
Yes.
At times at Orange. Just depends where you got a venue.
Mm.
Until we had this more or less inverted commas permanent venue for a while.
And
And
go ahead.
no, we played there, and we had our internal league, our own league.
Okay.
When I say our own league, I mean all the members they formed their clubs.
Would
and,
play each
and,
other.
And then we had a proper leagues, Division A, B, C, etc. Yeah.
Now, one of the famous clubs in Durban, and most times you would think of it in terms of football, but they weren't just football, was Sporting Club the Alberton Callies.
Yes.
Now, the Alberton Callies was a hockey club,
Hockey?
athletics, yes.
Okay.
They were a hockey club, athletics club, predominantly football. And they would take part in trying to get everybody going, tennis players and what have you.
Mhm.
Now, the table tennis on the Easter, the Alberton Callies tournaments, they would attract clubs from all over the country,
Yes.
Cape Town,
Mhm,
Johannesburg,
mhm.
and they would come over with a football team as well as a table tennis team.
Yes.
And the table tennis used to take place at Anjuman School.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
we used to go and watch. It was just a wonderful atmosphere because it was school
fact,
holidays.
I didn't know what was table tennis. What I mean is that compared to table tennis, we were living in a block of flats, and one of the neighbors had 2 trestles and had a door that was thrown out. We used to play on the door, fold the mat, the net halfway, across. And then one day when somebody came to a friend of mine, Mohammed Kamda, he was very involved. And he comes to me and says, "Look, we're going to play table tennis." And when we saw these big boards and that, and we were like, and this was at Anjuman, in the Kaji hall as such, everything was laid out. And we entered for a tournament, not knowing the rules of the game, and it started from there.
But wasn't that for everything, Faisal?
Yes.
We played. How did we play tennis? Not in a tennis court.
No,
on a
no.
wall,
On a
hitting the ball against the
yes,
wall.
yes, in a
Well,
lane.
as you said, we played table tennis on a door.
Yes.
I played table tennis on a teacher's desk.
Okay.
We had the net. We put,
Yes.
and then we
Turn
played
it on.
And guess what we used as bats? The hardcover book.
Yes. Oh, yes.
That was
I remember
our-
that. I remember that.
our
I
bat.
remember that.
And then cricket.
Yes.
Sundays, Queen Street and
Mhm.
Prince Edward Street became Lords.
Lords. Absolutely. Yes, Lords. And then,
amazing.
every street had a team or two.
Yes.
Like we had Queen Stars,
That's
Prince
right.
Rovers, Carlisle United. I can't remember
That's
the other
right.
names.
Yes, yes.
And then
yes.
we used to verse each other as
Yeah.
well.
Yep, absolutely. But also streets used to play each other. And they
That's
weren't
what I
really a
mean.
club.
I
Prince
mean,
Edward Street
yeah.
would play Queen Street.
Yes.
Queen Street would play
Cathedral Road.
Cathedral Road.
Mhm,
And it was like you would either go there like an away game,
Yes.
or they would come,
Come
to
here,
you.
yes.
You had your own stadium, which
Yes.
is ours was by.
I recall once that everybody played each other, and then it was a grand final.
Oh,
Okay. And this was now staged on a Saturday afternoon at the circus site.
okay.
And everybody was there.
We used to walk there. Eh?
Yes, you walk there. That's it. If you fortunate, somebody in an open van will stop and give you a lift.
Yeah.
Everybody just
But the
dived in.
walk was so special.
It was very special because that camaraderie was something
Yes.
else.
Now, you remember in Old Fort Road, opposite the old fort itself,
Yes.
there was a grassed area. Where the shoe shop is now, there's a King's Meat.
Oh, yes,
Shoes.
yes, yes, yes,
That
yes.
was just a grassed island.
Yes.
Remember on the Sundays, they used to have boxing.
Mm-hmm.
The African guys used to box.
Yes,
And there
yes.
used to be a huge crowd around them.
Mhm, mhm.
And that was like, we used to
You
stop
can put
off
up
and
a
watch
makeshift
that as
ring.
well.
Yes.
Incredible.
Mhm.
And that was all in the Casbah, you know. No grounds, no fields, no nothing.
Nothing. And then
Oh,
060-904-1056. 060-904-1056. Share your thoughts with us on Durban's Casbah, sport in Durban's Casbah. And yes, we look forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely.
060-904-1056. That's our WhatsApp line.
Good Hope Center.
Yes.
Now,
I
Good
mean,
Hope Center.
I think of Berea Football Club.
Oh, absolutely.
That's immediately comes to mind.
Absolutely.
The Ibrahim brothers come to
Ibrahim
mind.
brothers.
You know,
We
Yeah.
we basically lived like amongst Liverpool players, if you put it that way, because Berea Football Club with Sadiq Ibrahim, Cherry
Cherry,
Ibrahim playing in
yeah,
that
yeah.
league
Mm.
was the best team in South Africa at the time.
Mhm,
You know,
mhm.
one of the best teams,
Mhm.
and we had them on a daily basis, greeting them, talking.
Mhm,
I was more like family with them.
Mhm.
But there was also the Govender family, Vish Govender,
Oh,
who played
yes.
for many Rangers. That's
Yes,
right.
yes.
Selvin Govender, or Shorty, as we
Mhm,
call him, from
mhm,
Anjuman
mhm,
School,
mhm.
and Ron Govender. So, a lot of footballers came out of Good Hope Center. My uncle Sonny Morgan,
Oh, yes.
Aces United
Mhm.
captain way before us, but also a Good Hope Center boy. And a lot of, Iqbal Mehta
Yes.
from Eminence Curtain, the
Mhm.
late Iqbal
Mhm,
Mehta,
mhm.
he was from Good Hope Center as
Yes,
well.
yes,
A lot of footballers and sports in. Another building is Kismet Arcade.
Yes.
Kismet Arcade also had
Prince
a
Edward
lot
Street.
of Prince Edward Street.
Mhm.
They had a lot of Malay people living there, and the ladies or the girls at that time used to go to Beshe school,
Mhm.
so they would play
Probably play hockey.
exactly,
Mhm.
and they were the D'Alberton Callie's leg of the hockey team.
Okay.
So it didn't have people like from town. Sisters from town. It was they are from town,
Yeah.
but it was these Malay girls who mixed with the colored girls, and they would play hockey at Tills Crescent.
Mhm.
So and they fell under the banner of the Alberts and Kellys as well.
Okay.
So,
Kelly's has done very well.
Oh yes,
But the thing
absolutely.
is that they're still very popular.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. So I've been writing some stories about life in the Casbah, Faizal,
Mhm.
and I was thought maybe I could read one of them out.
Please go for that.
I've
Go for
written
it.
this. It's fairly lengthy, but I'm sure all of you out there would
Go for
really
it.
enjoy this.
Look,
So I call it a day in the life of the Casbah. So come, take a walk with me. We're strutting up Queen Street, crossing over the busy intersection with Grey Street, and walking alongside the array of decadent established shops fronting the Grey Street Mosque.
Mhm.
We walk with that Casbah swagger, didn't we, Faizal?
Oh, yes.
We continue behind the Emmanuel Cathedral Paris Center. We take a smart left out of the hustle and bustle of the street into the majestic and tranquil Emmanuel Cathedral itself. Doesn't matter which religion you were when it came to exams, you would light a candle, say a little prayer to whoever, and leave, hoping that you're going to get some much needed divine intervention to help us get through the exams. When done, I stepped out into the radiant Durban sunshine and busy Casbah pavement, crossed over Queen Street, heading alongside the grubby brown brick walls of the iconic Indian market, known locally as the Top Market. I made a quick right into the market itself, down the untidy and busy passageway, between stalls with mounds of curry powder that have been endorsed with the most relevant yet amusing names of each. Remember, mother-in-law's
Yes,
tongue,
that's the first
honeymoon barbecue, mother-in-law exterminator,
Was it Durban poison?
Durban poison. Well, I passed the meat section. We exited the market between Seaman Chetty's fish stall and Big Daddy Naidu's offal stall at the corner of Brook and Victoria Street. We are now directly across from the Victoria Street bridge that linked Warwick Avenue with town itself. Well, no time to waste. We continue walking over the bridge, over the railway, keeping one eye ahead and the other eye on potential pickpockets that could be around.
Yes.
Well, we exited the bridge amongst a sea of buses on my right-hand side, tightly parked next to each other on a slight incline. Well, between those buses, there was a busy trade of Simba chips, Wicks, bubblegum, Mentholyptus sweets, Gold Top Kui cool drinks,
Triple X mints.
Triple X mints,
important.
and a range of Boyle Streets from the Fudge Lady, which was in full swing by basket welding street entrepreneurs. We are now in Warwick Avenue. Well, we're heading down towards Warwick Avenue with the morning or bottom market itself, and we see a lot of people pushing trolleys and trying to anticipate buses, giving the false appearance that the buses are going to leave, hoping that it attracts patrons that are in a hurry. Well, we cross over Warwick Avenue into the infamous Kit Kat Cafe corner. Remember that? Acorn Road?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. Are you taking me to Curry's Fountain?
Well, you'll see where we're going. Well, we're walking past Ati Boy's family home. Do you remember Ati Boy? And that always oozed with the delectable aroma of his dear mom's cook sisters, which are without doubt the finest south of the North Pole. Well, up Acorn Road, past the library and laundry and peanut factory, facing Douglas Lane, into Hampson Grove, and onto the Red Sea Mounds across from Manchester Court. We proceed to head down towards Etna Lane.
Oh, yes.
Behind the Little People's Preschool.
To that side, okay.
Yes, housed in the back of St. Raphael's Church. Passing Mount Etna and the famous Himalaya House. We come out into Old Dutch Road, across from Arun Court, and we're waiting for the two-way traffic coming off Bria Road to subside along Old Dutch Road. We run across the road with our back towards the house of Auntie Doreen and Uncle Chota Isup's semi-detached double-story house. Walking down Stratford Road, you cannot help but notice the bad condition of once proud homes, as well as the untidy and unkept streets, almost as if the world forgot that these homes and people still exist. We exit at Mansfield Road with Scala Mansions on my right, Mansfield Boys High School across the road. We're heading down alongside Scala Building, passing the entrance to Scala Cinema, stopping on the corner of Mansfield and Winterton Walk to admire the yummy range of cakes available on display at Scala Tea Room on the corner. We cross over towards Methodist School. We turn left along the rear of the fire department that goes into Sydenham, Asherville, and Clare Estate. Well, the sound of the crowd is now getting louder, Faizal, as we pass Sastry College. My blood is starting to race in anticipation of seeing our heroes in actions, because now we are at Curry's Fountain, or Curry's as we know it. I stand in a long queue to buy my ticket, then hastily head towards the turnstiles where Mr. Mudley is leaning on it as if the metal structures were custom designed around his body. He rips my ticket in half. I quickly move towards the athletics track. I head around it to the Orient Bank, where the Bria supporters who cannot afford the tickets to the main stands normally gather. Well, any moment now, Martin, Speedy, and company will start the proceedings. But Bria supporters, we are all safe. It's match day at Curry's Fountain, and the roar intensifies as Charles Carey leads out Bria against old rivals Manning Rangers, who are led by the intelligent-looking and tough-tackling Manning Rangers skipper Dina Naidu, of course.
With his glasses.
Well, it's the early 70s, and I'm still a boy, ecstatic, free, and enthusiastically caught up in the way of life that we created at Curry's and in the Casbah, amidst the injustice of laws and ignorant intolerance of the day. How was that trip, Faizal?
Excellent trip.
We walked from town, from Queen Street,
and a huge gang
all the way. Exactly. Those were the days, Faizal. We have these smiles on our face, we have tears in our eyes when we think of, we didn't have any responsibilities. We just walked through.
Just walked. That's it.
28 minutes after 9 o'clock.
I think we need to take an ad break.
We're going to take an ad break. We'll come back with more Casbah stuff. We're looking forward to hearing from you, though. You can WhatsApp us on 069 041. That number's changed.
060 904 1056.
That's right. Thank you very much. We'll be back in a bit.
For too many communities across Africa and the world, access to clean water remains a dream. At Africa Muslims Agency, we dig deep, reaching into the heart of the earth to fill the cups of those in need. Sponsor a water well for 16,500 Rand, or a borehole in Afghanistan for 55,000 Rand, or Africa for 65,000 Rand, or any amount. With water comes food, health, education and growth. An ongoing reward with Africa Muslims Agency.
We are hiring. Join our team. Technician or sound engineer, Radio Al Ansar, Durban is looking for a dedicated and skilled technician or sound engineer to join our dynamic team. If you're passionate about sound, tech savvy, and thrive in a fast-paced environment, we want to hear from you. If you have experience with sound systems, recording, and live event setups, basic technical troubleshooting skills, social media skills like content creation, live streaming, platform management, ability to work flexible hours, including weekends, strong attention to detail, and reliability, we want to hear from you. Send your cover letter and CV to executive@alansar.org.za. Apply now.
Welcome to Simplex Radio. Park, 202 Brickfield Road, Overport. Simplex Radio, the name you can trust.
Krugerrands are a timeless investment. Every day, thousands trust Issa Bullion to buy, store, and sell them effortlessly. With 16 years of global expertise, we make gold trading simple. Trade 24/5 from anywhere on our user-friendly platform, a first for South Africa. Each Krugerrand is fully insured and stored in high-security vaults. Enjoy competitive pricing and guaranteed buyback. Issa Bullion, built on trust, driven by expertise, focused on your future. Visit isabullion.co.za today.
Elder Care. Your Zakah makes a difference. Your Zakah ensures that our elders are well taken care of. This drive provides rent assistance, food, and basic essentials to ensure that our seniors live comfortably. Your generous support ensures that they receive medical care and nourishment, allowing them to live with dignity and peace. Donate today and make a difference with a lasting impact on their lives. Call Outreach now on 031 208 1601.
الوفاء بشتى الصور أحب الوفي الأمين أغر.
Join me, Faizal MJ Suleman, this and every Saturday on Rise and Shine. Looking forward to gracing the airwaves of Radio Al Ansar from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Rise and Shine.
الوفاء بشتى الصور.
There you go. It's 32 minutes after 9 o'clock. You with Faizal MJ Suleman and myself, Buddy Govender. We're talking Casbah. Today we're talking about sport. We got a lovely message that's just come in, Faizal. It's coming from Peter Maritzburg. And he says, brilliant show. Keep it up. He says, I am 71 and I can relate to it all. Says, what a topic. Don't forget Sugar Singh, Scampy Basesa, brilliant playmaker Dudu, Super, Fiki Vali, Nassim Mayat, Stanley Govender. They can all walk into any Premier League side today. And what about Prega Thunderen from Bluebell? So I wrote a story on Prega Thunderen as well. So
in fact, he just mentioned Prega now.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to just, this is lovely to get that message because it just tells us that people are listening out there, and we want to tell you more about the Casbah. So we're talking about schooling, or, when we were at school, Faizal, we worked on a Friday and a Saturday as well.
Yes,
and our week culminated with the Sunday ritual of going to the game at Curry's Fountain. Curry's was our go-to place. We made sure that we were all there to observe and to be part of what was on offer, be it football, cricket, karate, boxing, athletics, or even a political gathering.
Yes.
We all headed down to Curry's Fountain.
Yeah.
And little did we know at the time that we were actually witnessing or being part of history in the making. In some way, it felt like we were drawn towards Curry's Fountain.
Yeah.
But also coming from a football family myself, Aces United, I would fondly listen to members of my family talk about people that lived in town that actually played for these football teams. And I had the great privilege of meeting some of those men. One of them, and I'm sure this gentleman would know exactly who I'm talking about. Excellent Mtembu from Aces United, Segra Naidu, the late Blondie Campbell. He just died recently. I spoke at his funeral. Mr. Big Daddy Naidu, Crash Morgan, Lionel Hamil, Sonny Morgan. What about Henry Black Cat Kele? Do you know? Remember him?
Yes.
Do you know he was Shaka Zulu?
Is it?
He was the guy on that TV. Exactly. The legendary Shaka Zulu. That was Mr. Henry Blackacre. He was the goalkeeper for Aces United.
Yes, I do remember.
Derek Displays, all these peoples, they came there. We know some incredible stories. There was a gentleman, Faizal, that is a Casbah legend in football, snooker, and he became an ustad, and his name was Papu Akbar. Now, we can't just walk past without talking about that gentleman.
You think of, I think, 8th floor Kiswara Kid or 9th floor.
Exactly.
Upstairs, they used to rule the place.
A legend.
Snooker.
Snooker, top class. Football, top class. Everything that he touched, he became. And he played in the time when Dara Mohan played. Everybody knows about Dara Mohan,
very popular.
Avalon Athletics, and I think the gentleman there would know exactly what we are talking about.
There's a message from a sister, I think it's from Zarina.
Yep.
Salams, don't you remember late Ismail Kolya of Orient School, a great sportsman of Orient School? I'm sure his name rings a bell.
Faisal, the article I wrote, can you see whose name is there?
Oh, you got him there.
Ismail Kolya.
God, you got him there.
Exactly. Who would forget Ismail Kolya, Richard Williams, the athletics kings of Durban at the time.
What a good sportsman, a good runner. What about Scala Bicycle? Mansfield Botanical Gardens. There are some of the areas there.
Absolutely. But Ismail Kolya, one of those great ones. Ismail Laher as well.
Oh, yes.
The sad part about it is those guys, Faisal, their times in the 100 meters was within world record time.
Yes.
Yet they couldn't take part. What would that mean if everything was equal? We would have had Olympians amongst us.
How long we had top tennis players, top table tennis players, top cricketers. All of them were just. There's a lovely message coming through. I think you know read.
It says, I listen to the program every Friday. I was from Stratford Road. There you go. I should attend Durban Girls High, and I'm gone old now. No, you're not. Very good program. Takes me down memory lane. I don't know whether you all remember Ficky Valley.
Very well.
Can't forget Ficky. I see him and I get messages from him weekly. He was a great soccer player. I met my husband in Etna Lane. We are now married for 53 years, mashallah. He should attend Sastry College. That's where we come from, Faisal, as well. That was excellent stuff. But cricket, some of the names. Enver Mal.
Enver Mal. Who's going to forget Enver?
Yaqub Omar.
Yaqub Omar, yes.
These are some of the boys that we grew up with.
We even had Mohammed Wahid, I think.
Exactly.
Yunus Rendry.
That's right.
Yunus. In fact, Yunus was a master table tennis player.
Absolutely. A lot of them. A lot of them were table tennis or tennis and cricket.
I remember a table tennis game between Yunus Rendry and a guy called Suren Bhagwan. He's in Johannesburg. But I think he's overseas now.
Absolutely.
It was at the Paris Center. It was the finals of the men's final. The men's final played on a Sunday night. Game started something like, I think, 9:30. Went on till about 1 o'clock.
The atmosphere must have been fantastic.
Electric.
I know that.
It was one of the best games I've seen. It's a pity that, that was not recorded, for visuals and things like that. Otherwise,
amazing. You're right. It's a pity we didn't have that to record it and document it. Kismet Cricket Club, that came from the area. Isipingo, they came, but there was guys from town as well. They would come into there. So there's just so much we can talk about. And I think we've elicited some good memories here, but lovely to get those messages. So come on, guys, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us about your Casbah days. Do you remember Musi from the snooker fraternity?
Oh, yes. Was it Ashraf Dad you're referring to?
Sorry?
Are you referring to Ashraf Dad?
Yes. Mr. Ghani was a top-class football cricket snooker player as well. My uncle Farouk Abdi, my mom's brother, was a South African champion at one time. But we had some great snooker players. In 1978, Farouk Abdi won the SA Singles Snooker Championship. He won the SA Billiards Championship. And where were the snooker rooms? Do you remember them, Faisal?
I just remember the one upstairs, Kishman Arcade.
That's right.
That was one, and then there was in at the clubhouse, man, where the Musafir Khan used to be.
Yes, that's
It's one
right.
of Grey Street and Victoria Street
That's
upstairs.
right. Across the road was Five Aces. Five Aces Snooker Club. That was upstairs from Victory Lounge.
Upstairs Victory Lounge,
That's
okay.
right. That was
okay.
the long-standing, yes.
The initial.
But the one in Kismet Arcade, there were two. There was one in a gully next door,
Yes.
and there was one in the basement. And you know, when you look at some scenes today in some things, you see these snooker rooms. We had that, man. in
Yes,
Casbah.
yes, of course.
And
There's a nice question that's come through, buddy.
yes,
It's a very question to host. How can we get our youngsters to emulate the greats of yesteryear?
oh, that you know what? That is a good question,
Yes.
and the answer to that is very difficult. The
Okay.
youngsters of today, they're not motivated by local sportsmen anymore. You know, I don't know what the reason is.
Also, what happened? The facilities are there for them, so they're on another level.
Exactly.
And of course, technology is advanced. We never had these PlayStations, and we want to play ball. We played ball. Okay, so do you remember
How's that
Kilroy?
one? Of course.
You remember Kilroy?
Kilroy. Faizal, what do you remember about Kilroy?
Everything.
There was that legend that Kilroy was over intelligent. That you know, he would come into a maths class,
Yeah.
chase the teacher away,
Yes.
and then finish the whole equation or something in like seconds. And everybody would sit there with their mouths open, like, how this guy did? And he would turn around and then throw the chalk at you, and everybody goes scattering,
Yeah.
and he would run away.
Run away, yeah.
You know,
In fact, we were playing ball one day, and one of the guys tripped on the road, and he fell. And this guy walked past, he saw him, he just did something like he broke it and he was gone. But anyway.
what was it about Kilroy that we were frightened of, though? Because when he came, we disappeared.
Yes.
You know, wherever he ran, people would run away in the opposite
away.
direction.
Yes. Okay. I think something from
Superintendent Ralph, he says, we used to close the roads in Beater Street and play soccer.
Yes,
of course.
Yeah.
Beater Street, Prince Edward Street, Queen Street, soccer season, football. If it was cricket season, cricket.
Yep. What about the red call boxes?
Of course.
And then, of course, they've got all the cinemas in Naz, Albert, Rod,
Ask
Scala.
our kids today, what's a call box?
They don't know what you're talking about.
I saw a video clip of Faizal. They gave some university students one of the old dial telephones.
Oh, yes.
And they asked them to sort this out. They took 20 minutes to find out how to use it. They had no clue how to use it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we had everything in the Casbah, but we're talking sport. We're talking about table tennis. Faizal, maybe tell us some of the names.
Table tennis really grew and it became national. And we had some top people.
Ginger Vauda.
Yes. And we had Yunus Randri there.
That's
we had
right.
Fred Babon there. We had Vijay Balji. We had Dhiran. We had some Narayan brothers over there as well. We had Shabir Randri. We had ASM Bobat. And the list goes. Just Ashraf Ghani. In fact, what has happened recently in the last year or two, a group of them have revived the old Southern Natal Table Tennis Union, and they now play every Monday night. And they're starting the same thing that used to happen at that time, having internal leagues and things like that.
Where are they playing?
At NMJ.
Oh, fantastic!
And
there you go.
And
maybe we should, encourage brothers and sisters, or
come and join
sure
us.
they have separate facilities. Go down and join them. NMJ.
Definitely. In fact, we can call them to talk to us about it too.
That'll be great. That'll be a good idea.
This morning, I was interviewing somebody from the Lenasia Table Tennis Association, and she was just telling me that it's growing so much that they're actually getting kids off the street to come and play table tennis, and they're now playing competitive table tennis as well, which is excellent.
Absolutely. Rolf said that they used to close off the roads and play football in the street. We said we did the same thing.
In Prince Edward Street, we did that.
But what was the difference, Faizal? Because the people that drove cars also respected the youngsters not having the space. They didn't drive past flying through. They would slow down. They would hoot. They would even stop sometimes because they knew until we noticed them. Today, do you think what would happen today?
No, you mowed down.
Murder on the streets of Durban.
In fact, I recall when we were taking penalties, some of us used to stop the cars, let the penalty be taken. Yeah. And then somebody says Kasim Dawji for tennis and table tennis. Yes, the name rings a bell.
Absolutely.
And of course, Zarina wants to know, what about the rickshaws? The rickshaws. And
Yeah, you remember the rickshaws were at the
Yes.
market.
yes.
I remember I would go down with my father on a Saturday morning
Mhm.
to buy stuff,
Mhm.
and there was bags to carry, and he would
Yes.
put me on a rickshaw,
Yes.
and he would walk next
Yes.
to the rickshaw because we lived down the road.
Mhm.
But I would go in this rickshaw, and I would love it when a guy lifts
Lifts
you
it
up
up.
and down.
Now
Oh,
that was like a mode of transport.
of course,
And now it's still a luxury on the beach, I think.
of course, yeah. Nobody
And
would want to.
And you won't want to sit in there. You'll feel very embarrassed, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed, absolutely.
What about the big night, the brigades,
Ooh.
lovely old days?
We
Yes,
spoke about that.
we
Faisal.
spoke about that. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Big Night and the brigades.
Mhm.
You mentioned it, Faisal, about the two-way in Grey Street.
Yes, yes,
the,
yes.
the white railing that was in the middle.
All sit in the
We
center.
would sit on that railing and watch the Morums or the brigades come
all of
past.
that, all of that go past.
And then follow it all the way to
Yes, yes, yes.
the Bashapir.
Yeah, someone's telling us about First Avenue, about Epsom Road, about Escott Street. Yes, we've discussed those areas as well in the past.
yeah,
Excellent.
absolutely.
But you know, if it brings up memories, it brings back memories, undoubtedly.
First Avenue, Epsom Road, and Ascot Street. It's funny how it had a link to town.
Mhm.
You know, if you look at it today, it's like outside.
Outside
But
town, the
basically,
Greenville area.
yes, you would have a lot of friends that would play with us on a daily basis that would actually walk from
Yes.
those areas to Queen Street or Prince Edward Street or Carlisle
Main
Street.
Street, Mitchell Road.
And when you remember them, they were basically a Carlisle Street boy, but
Yes.
they didn't live there. They lived in May Street.
yeah, yeah.
The schools were there as well.
You know, it's a pity that we didn't have a Hoopo League. You remember the game Hoopo? Or a Gully Danda League?
Now you're opening a can of
No, that's our
worms.
sport.
The Hoopo was incredible. I loved it.
Yes, and it was our sport.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Hoopo and also the
Gully Danda.
hopscotch.
Hopscotch. Oh yes, hopscotch. But that was for the girls.
I don't know if it's
Yeah, and
played off.
and the pavements.
I'm giving away my
they had these
secret.
little blocks on the pavements,
Yeah.
which done well for them.
Yeah, I
because
don't
they
know,
could mark
Faisal.
it.
We used to have some pretty intense hopscotch games
Okay,
that would end up in arguments. Maybe they should have had VAR at that time because it was a matter of whether it touched the line or
That's the
not.
line or not. Yeah.
Oh, that was good fun, eh? Good fun indeed.
Definitely.
But we're talking about Casbah and we're talking about sport in the Casbah. But if you want to just mention anything, you're more than welcome to give us a call or message us into the studio. You know the WhatsApp number.
060-904-1056.
That's right. Give us a WhatsApp and just tell us, even if it's like a one name thing, just tell us,
It will ring a bell.
Yes, exactly. Faizal Suleman. Maybe you know something about Faizal sport in the Casbah. But maybe we should also tell the listeners out there, Faizal, that you and I were boyfriends together. We were 14 years old, 15 years old in town in Queen Street. You would hang around with us as well. We would hang around downstairs.
Yes.
And what wonderful, respectful times we had.
It was excellent. Very good times, very respectful.
Absolutely.
And you notice the dressing at that time too.
Yeah.
Everyone was immaculately
Yeah,
dressed.
exactly.
Irrespective
And we didn't
whether...
have fancy.
No. Where were you bought it from?
Yeah.
Were from one of the local shops? So
today the boys got perfumes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ralph is talking about Sharda Radio in Victoria Street.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Those were the days that if you needed a cable or if you needed a cassette, the C60.
Yes,
what did you like? C60s or C90s? You didn't go to Sharda Radio to get them. So yeah, they certainly stocked a whole lot of stuff. Faisal, I like that Sharda Radio thing because I don't know about you, but I couldn't afford anything from Sharda Radio. I would go in to look and wish that I would one day, get that transistor radio or something. Good days those were.
But of course, we enjoyed every bit of it, and we can sit and talk about it.
Absolutely. But we're coming up to 47 minutes up to 9 o'clock now. So just before we end off the show, we're going to go in for a quick ad break. And then we'll come back and we'll round up Casbah. Hopefully we get one or two more messages. I see a couple messages
coming through.
Type in. So drop us those messages. 060-904-1056. We'll be back in a bit.
Plan your dream holiday with the specialist, World of Travel, as we pride ourselves in offering you the best in Hajj and Umrah. We also offer travel packages to the Middle East, Far East, and many more exotic destinations. Call our professional travel consultants now on 031 20 888 77 or view our website www.worldoftravel.co.za. Visit us at 44 Crescent Street as memorable journeys begin with World of Travel by Irshad Malik.
You know what really gets under my skin? When my cake or icing just doesn't come out right. It's such a bummer. But I found this incredible margarine called Wooden Spoon, and it's been a total lifesaver for my baking adventures. It makes my icing turn out just perfect every time. When I whip up something with Wooden Spoon, I feel like a master baker. Seriously, my cakes have never looked better. The secret? Wooden Spoon margarine. It's like the magic ingredient for nailing those perfect bakes. And guess what? It's even endorsed by the South African Bakers Guild Association. Just another quality product from the Willowton Group.
Are you taking care of your health? Join us for a free healthcare screening on Wednesday, 18th June at Al-Ansar Pietermaritzburg, 240 Ortman Road from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in partnership with Midland Specialist Private Hospital. We're offering blood pressure, glucose, and other vital healthcare checks. No bookings needed, just walk in. Let's take charge of our health together. That's Wednesday, 18th June, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Al-Ansar Pietermaritzburg. Brought to you by Radio Al-Ansar and Midland Specialist Private Hospital.
Are you ready to win? Tune in from Monday and test your knowledge on our products and services offered. Daily prizes galore, along with weekly tablet giveaways. Stand a chance to win a grand prize of a brand new laptop. Brand new laptops. The Breakfast Rush, together with the Cellular City group of Vodacom stores. Monday to Friday, run about 7:20 a.m. Run about 7:20 a.m. Do you want to be a winner? Brand new laptop. Well, let's do this.
اللهم إنك ترى ما نزل بنا في غزة من الأحوال يا ذا الجلال والعزة يا ذا الجبروت والعزة اللهم أعز أهل غزة اللهم فرج عن أهل غزة اللهم فرح أهل غزة اللهم انصر أهل غزة اللهم داوي جريحهم اللهم اشف مريضهم اللهم اقبل شهيدهم اللهم ارحم ميتهم اللهم كفف جراحاتهم وبرد آلامهم اللهم واجعل لهم وللمسلمين فرجا قريبا يا الله اللهم فرج عنا وعن المسلمين في كل مكان اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين واخذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداء الدين يا رب العالمين سبحانك سبحانك ترى الظالمين فتمهلهم حتى يظنوا أنك تهملهم وتبتلي الصالحين في الدنيا حتى يستيئسوا فإن استيئسوا أتيتهم بنصرهم اللهم إنك تعلم أن جراحات المسلمين كثيرة وآلامهم كثيرة في كل مكان وفي كل زمان اللهم فانصرنا على أعدائنا يا الله اللهم فثبت أقدامنا يا الله
Radio Al-Ansar, Durban, 90.4 FM, Peter Maritzburg, 105.6 FM.
We back on air, Faizal?
Yes, of course.
Some nice messages coming through.
Some good messages. In fact,
let's go to the top.
What comes to mind is the Indian songs playing the record shop so loud in the
Yeah, remember that. Even Madrasa Arcade, eh?
Yes.
Actually,
Ajmeri Arcade, not Madrasa.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, also they talk about some of the professionals. They talk about Dr. Faizal Wahda, Dr. Farooq Musa. The ice specialist comes from Stratford Road.
That's right.
We had very intelligent people living in our road. Yes, definitely.
You know, Farooq Musa used to play football in Prince Edward Street with us.
Is it? Okay.
And what used to happen was when the game was still on, Farooq, you'd go home. And we would say, what's wrong? You went so early. Well, you know why now, isn't it?
Studying. Of course. And then Zarina comes back and she talks about Hansas. We discussed that. And then she talks about milk, glass bottles, the milkman at 5 by your door, sterilized milk, made the best tea.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
The orange juice as well in the bottle.
Yes.
Just the milk and the orange juice just doesn't taste the same in the plastic container.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Somebody's talking about St. Anthony School as well.
Yes.
I mean, those are the schools that were all around there. The gentleman, yeah, that's right. There was St. Anthony School. There was St. Augustine School. There was Orient. There was Gandhi Desai, Emal Sultan.
Lots of schools.
Of course. So we used to go through all that as well. So, we're speaking about sport in the Casbah, and I think when we reflect on it, we realize that coming back right to the beginning again, Faizal, not a single park, not a single football or sports field, nothing, not even a grassed area.
Definitely.
And yet we produce some of the finest sports people that today, like some people are sitting there. At least we got some people giving us some ideas. Many of you are sitting there and you know exactly who these gentlemen they are. We're all in our families.
Exactly.
And they came out from the Casbah.
In fact, I think in future programs, you try and get some of these guys to talk to us about the experiences, what they went through, what they were deprived of.
That's right. You know what we were going to be looking forward to, Faizal, when we discussed this, is actually maybe one day taking the show to Prince Edward Street or to Queen Street. Outside the Jummah Masjid, we'll have the crafter there and we'll have a Casbah chat. And I'm sure there's...
Are we going to get our regulars from there? Because the whole scene has changed now.
It has. But I'm sure what we'll do is we'll broadcast it a few weeks before. And hopefully the brothers can all go down there. I'm sure there's a lot of brothers that actually were brought up in the Grey Street Jummah Masjid that don't go there anymore. Maybe it's an opportunity. Let's go there again, back to where it all started.
Sister Zarina says, and then came the group areas.
Absolutely. But, Faizal, group areas was there. But we made the best of what we had. Because in our group of friends, there were colored guys there.
Yes.
We didn't have white guys, but we were open to anybody that would come through with us. Sometimes there was a guy in the shop, an African guy. He would also hang around with us.
Yeah, come and play ball with us, join us.
Come and play with us. We had no airs and graces about that at all.
No, the camaraderie at that time was something else.
Yeah, it was a Casbah thing, wasn't it?
Yes,
something
definitely.
about it.
Definitely.
Sister Moment.
Go for it.
She says, Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for such an interesting show. Thoroughly enjoyed the walk from Queen Street to Curry's Fountain. That's great.
Yes. And then Rafiq Adam comes and says that window shopping with elders on a Saturday night and running around playing hide and seek and having ice cream. Wow.
Well, Brother Rafiq, that means you missed last week's show because that's exactly what we spoke about.
Yes.
The window shopping in town and the ice creams and
polar bar.
And the ice cream van on the corner of Field and West Street. It's always parked there opposite Garlics or Stutterfords at the time.
Playing the little
so maybe you need to get that. Says now you'll get
all of Africa and Quincy. No, Quincy become international. Yeah,
absolutely.
Quincy international.
Yeah.
No, but undoubtedly this little walk down memory lane, it jolts a lot of memories, brings back lots of memories to people. It's it's highly nostalgic as well. And as I say, I want to invite some of the people that remember these stories. Come join us.
Live there as well.
Yeah, come join us and let's discuss.
Yeah,
we've got plenty of mics and chairs over here available.
Hansa's Cafe on the corner of Prince Edward Street. While we're talking sport, you probably wonder why am I talking Hansa's Cafe. There used to be a football game that used to take place between, I think, the Prince Edward Street boys and probably Victoria Street or Queen Street guys.
Yes.
And there was a cup once that was sponsored by Hansa.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes.
And it was a big game. I mean, there were like people standing on balconies and everybody was standing around. I remember we were standing over there and it was...
I remember the game.
And Hansa's would provide that.
Yes.
And isn't it nice? Afterwards, you go and buy something from Hansa. So, there was a spin-off there. Sundays, playing on the strings.
Oh.
You know what I think they're talking about here? Is down the bay. Remember Sunday aunties would walk to the bay and there was the swings?
Point Park.
That's right.
We call it the Point Park.
That's right. Yes, that's right. So
just put on your Sunday best and walk down and go and enjoy it.
Well, Faizal, I think we've come to more or less the end of our walk.
Well, you know what that means? That you're having fun, because good things always, when you're having fun, time flies.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us on this walk through the Casbah. All we wanted to do, Faizal and myself, is to make us remember the past. We're not gloating on the past. We know where we were going to. We must always remember where we've come from. We've got to be proud of our past, of the people that we grew up with. And indeed, we've lost a lot of people along the way. And, inshallah, we carry their spirit in us as well, Faizal.
Inshallah, yeah. Absolutely. So, Bari, thank you for the wonderful show once more. Monday, thank you for engineering for us. And inshallah, we'll be back with you probably next week, inshallah. Okay, thank you. So, till then, let's put it till then.
Yes.
I'm back with you tomorrow morning on Rise and Shine. Buddy's back with you tomorrow afternoon on Kickoff.
That's right.
And
lots
Sunday
to talk about.
Sunday you're going to kick off again.
Absolutely.
Okay. Buddy's our sporting.
And now, and we got a special Father's Day Sunday morning breakfast show at 8 o'clock as well that will be presented.
Okay, excellent. But then, we celebrate Father's Day every day, but we'll give you this benefit, no problem. From myself, Faizal MJ, Suleman, and
Buddy Govender.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
فأهل الوفاء كلام السحاب وحسن الربيع وماء المطر مقامهم فوق رأس الجبال وفوق الروابي وعند القمر ويا من تحب غياب الوفاء رأيتك تهوى غياب البصر كم قائل قد أضعت حياتي وفيا لأجل هناء البشر أقول له أفلح الأوفياء وحسب الوفاء يطيل